What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Finding Hope podcast. I'm your host, Kayla Bundy. Happy Wednesday. I hope the sun is shining where you're at. It's getting warmer. Summer's coming. You're feeling good and excited about life. If you are new here, welcome to this incredible community. If you are a returning guest, welcome back to this family, this sisterhood of just encouragement, growth, always chasing after a hope for something more and better and having actionable steps to get us there. Today's episode will most definitely be pressing into the importance of having steps and having action and the desire to get somewhere better. Our episode today is really going to stem from this quote from Alice Wellington Rollins. She says, "The test of a student is not how much he knows, but how much he wants to know." I love this. I love this so much because I think it's crazy how much in the Bible Jesus truly presses into confirming that concept of knowledge and how smart you are, how intelligent you are. It truly is not based on how much you know, but how much more you want to learn. And I think it's so clear looking all throughout Scripture, but especially when Jesus is doing his ministry and almost any time he encounters the Pharisees. What's so interesting is that the Pharisees had so much more head knowledge than almost anyone else in that time period of Jesus and who he was, who God was. And all of the people that had come to give their lives to Jesus, that professed Jesus was Lord, that were following him, they truly didn't start out with much knowledge. They maybe had some understanding, but some of them really had never once heard or learned about who he was. And simply by word of mouth and faith, they were so eager to want to learn more. And I think it's so crazy that the people that actually knew the most couldn't recognize who he was. And so we're going to dive into that because I think that's a really easy way maybe to miss a lot of the blessings and miracles that God has in front of us, just like the Pharisees did, by our ignorance and not chasing after growth and chasing after more. I know it's so easy to get stuck and disguising content as complacency. And so I definitely don't want us to just be complacent and say, hey, well, I'm content with my life. I like the way things are going. But I really do think we should always have a desire to learn more and to want to learn more. So that's what we're going to talk about today. This is also truly a testament and a testimony that the Lord has worked so much in me because growing up, I was never the person that wanted to learn more, that couldn't wait to learn more things, that wanted to learn more lessons, that was excited by the thought of growth and change and all of it. I was the kid that was like, nah, I know enough. I'm good. I'm set. I'm chilling. No need to learn more. If I've existed this long, I'll continue to exist and I'll be fine. And that was so me. And it's so funny because if you have met me or followed me or anything really in the last, 6 years now, it is a complete 180. Like who I once was as a child, I feel like God has totally changed, transformed, redeemed everything. Like my desires truly are so different than what they once were. There's parts of my personality that are very similar, but my desires are absolutely night and day difference. And a big part of who I am now and who I love being and want to continue to be and continue to create circles that amplify this character trait is people chasing after growth. I am such a person now where I literally am always wanting to learn more, to grow more, to educate myself more, to push myself more, to be uncomfortable more, to change more, to mature more, everything. I am chasing that. And my circles amplify that and they reflect that as well. And it's been such a gift. But I also know there has been a big chunk of my life where that was not me. And so I can fully attest that in the times and years in my life that I lived where I was just fine with the knowledge I had and I didn't have a desire for more, I truly missed out on so much of God's goodness, his blessings, his miracles, his love, everything, the opportunities. Once I really stepped in and like full sent, no, we're living in a growth mindset now for the rest of my life. It has been wild how much my life, my health, my everything, my relationships, my being, my every ounce of me has improved for the better. And no part of me would ever want to go back to who I once was. All that to say, there's some truth. There's some truth when God tells us things that, hey, you know what? He actually means it. And there's so much more that we get to experience when we actually not only understand his word and his truth, but we see the fruits of what happens when we can walk in that. Proverbs 18:15 says, "The heart of the discerning acquires knowledge, for the ears of the wise seek it out." That was the NIV version. And then the New Living Translation version says, "Intelligent people are always ready to learn. Their ears are open for knowledge." I really liked the wording in the New Living Translation. Both are great, but I just kind of wanted to press into that because I love that it says intelligent people are always ready to learn and their ears are open for knowledge. And I think it's so cool because really intelligence and the heart of the discerning, as the other version calls it, discerning is also another word for intelligence, knowledge, wisdom, all of that. But it's cool that the Bible almost explains that being intelligent and being discerning goes hand in hand with being ready to learn and acquiring more knowledge. In my circles that don't necessarily chase after the Lord's heart or aren't in a growth mindset, it's crazy how dumb I feel around them. And I have so many friends that they are so fine being stagnant and they're okay letting life happen to them. They grow, but they don't grow because they're chasing growth. They grow because you get older and life happens. They stay stagnant because that's what feels comfortable and there isn't a desire to push themselves. And in those friendships that I have, in those groups that I am a part of, it is crazy how dumb I feel in them. Like genuinely, I know there's so many times I go and back home and I visit and I'm like, wow, I feel like an idiot. And I know I'm not, but it's interesting because they are so fixated on head knowledge and on the history dates and on knowing facts and just random things, which are important. I'm not saying they're not important. They're extremely important. But they're so obsessed with the knowledge that they already have, and they have no desire to learn or grow in areas that aren't as comfortable for them. It's crazy how much of a difference I feel interacting and how down I'm always talked to by the people that are already set in their ways and are already happy with the wisdom, the knowledge, the information that they already know. It's wild how much I feel like those people in my life will go out of their way almost to make me feel dumb. And the people in my life that maybe know half of what they know, but are always desiring to learn more, I actually learn so much more from. I think they're brilliant. I view them in an entirely different way, with way more respect, with way more admiration, with way more of a desire to want to be more like them, because I find them intelligent. I find them to have good discernment. I find them to reflect qualities I want because of simply this verse. They are always ready to learn. They're always ready to learn. They're always ready to grow, and they're always chasing after growth. What's cool about Jesus is when the Pharisees were coming to him, it's interesting because, like I said, they had so much knowledge on him. They knew exactly who he was. They had studied the coming of Jesus for so many years, and they had so much more access to learning about God than most other people. And so they had this wisdom. And what's so crazy is they had absolutely zero desire to learn anything more. They got so comfortable in the laws they knew, in the ways they knew things to be done, in what they had been taught, in what they had memorized, that any new information to them was not appealing. Part of me questions why that was, because I know I look at my own life and I'm like, okay, well, what was the difference when I didn't really want to learn more versus when now that's what I'm almost obsessed with in a way. And for the Pharisees, I'm kind of questioning just kind of why. Like, why did they genuinely not want to learn more? And I think it comes down to pride. And I think that's why the Bible is so heavy into pressing into humility and to always staying humble and to having a childlike heart, because children don't know almost anything. They have to learn. They're teachable. And that's the beauty. They are teachable. When you get older and you start getting so set in ways and you start existing in a system that works for you, it's so much harder to want to learn new ways and new things when what you're doing is already working for you. And when there's a child, they're so open to learn and they're so teachable because they haven't figured things out. And so they'll try anything to figure it out. And with the Pharisees, they had already established a system they liked, they enjoyed. They were totally fine being in their comfort zone, being at the top of the top. The thought of somebody pushing them and stretching them and challenging them wasn't worth getting uncomfortable to experience the blessings for. They would have much rather stayed in their comfortability, stayed in their pride, and stayed in this thinking of, I already know everything I need to know. And it's cool because the Pharisees that did actually believe in the Lord, he granted almost every request they had. When the Pharisees came and they believed and they asked for healing, they asked for whatever they were struggling with, Jesus was instantaneous to grant that. And not only to grant that, but to praise them for their faith in that. Not once did he say, well, you used to think you were too good and you used to be one of them, and pointing a finger right back at them. But no, he actually met them with instantaneous acceptance and blessings and open arms. And I think whenever I have crossed that line and I make a decision to get a little uncomfortable, to want to learn more, it stretches me because I know things. It's not like I don't know things. I know things and I have certain understandings of things. And when I believe what I know to be right and true, it's easy and it's tempting to want to stay stuck in that and to not expand that. And sometimes expanding might not enforce what you already thought was right. And I think that's where the Pharisees were very uncomfortable with Jesus, is because he wasn't enforcing what they had thought to be right. In areas in my life, even if it comes to working out, there are times where I fully know my body and I'm like, I know exactly how to push my body, what to put in my body, all of these things. And someone comes along and they're like, you should be doing it this way. And if you've ever been to a gym as a girl and you don't know what you're doing on the machines or something, even if you do, there's always that one person that has to come up and tell you how to do it, quote unquote, the right way. And I'm sure we've experienced that at some point in time. And it's easy to be like, ugh, they're so annoying. No, but there's always something to learn. And when I have stepped into the posture of, I will be teachable from everyone and everything, and I am so eager for knowledge and wisdom and growing, it creates so many opportunities for me to actually benefit myself and to expand what I know in a way that actually is doing more for me than I could have done with the previous knowledge that I had. And with the knowledge I had about Jesus, whenever I've been wanting to learn more and eager to learn more, my relationship grows deeper than I ever thought it was possible. And right now, I feel like it's the deepest it's ever been, but I know in a year, I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, it's so much deeper. And that's so cool that there's always so much more, and it truly never stops. So I want to encourage you to really try to incorporate a heart posture of growth and wanting to learn more, because the best student is not the one that knows most. It's the one that's always wanting to learn more and the one that's teachable. I think one of the first things to do in getting to that heart posture is simply asking. Ask the Lord. I have come to the Lord so many times in prayer, just asking for him to humble me, to remove my pride, and to make me teachable. I say this because I truly am the person that always wants growth. Like, if you know me, you know that to be true. And I am that version of myself, and that feels right. It doesn't feel like this facade I'm putting on. But I am only able to operate in this way because of the Lord. And I say that because it was not ingrained in me to be this way. Like, this was so not desires of mine. This was not how I was as a child at all when I was growing up. I needed God's grace because I could not do it in my human strength. And I think there's a lot of times in my life where I know I cannot do this in my human strength. Like, this is truly where I need the Lord. I think it's easy to forget how much access we actually have to him and how much he actually does want to help us and does know exactly what we need. And really, we just need to ask. And in those moments where that person is coming up and telling me I'm using the gym equipment wrong, and I'm like, I literally know I'm not, I need to take that to the Lord and be like, Lord, humble me. I clearly have something to learn, and maybe I am doing it right, but also maybe his way is going to work a muscle that I wasn't previously working, and a muscle that I might need to actually strengthen for something 5 years from now. And if I start now, who knows how much that could help and benefit me. And it's my human nature to want to say, I'm good. I know exactly what I'm doing, and the knowledge I have is enough. That is where I need God's grace, and I need the Lord to get me from that human nature into the child of God that I am, into my true identity. And because saying this idea of a growth mindset and genuinely desiring that is who I am, that is true. Even though it once wasn't, I do know that is who I am because I'm looking more like God's daughter. And a daughter of Christ is my truest identity. That form is always going to be the truest identity that I am. And so all the things that I have to strip away and constantly remove myself of, those are all rooted in my flesh, and they're rooted in the world. And the world did not create me. The world does not define me. God defines me. So by having this growth mindset and by always wanting to learn more, having a desire to acquire more knowledge, by doing so, you're always going to look more and more like the true identity you were created to be. And it will feel right. It won't feel like this facade. It will be where you actually allow the Lord to change that in you and to work in that in you. And I used to be the person that was like, no, this is just how I am. This is who I am. Why would I change? I don't want to lose me. And once I realized, I'm actually not losing myself by me staying this version, is me existing in a way that's not who I truly am, that made me be like, wait, that doesn't make sense. Because if I'm able to exist in the way that I truly am and who I truly am, then life just gets a million times better. If you are living in a way with my little dog Pixie, she's literally the love of my life. She's so cute. If I treated her like she was a rabbit and I put her in a cage, I did different things with her, she would not experience the fullness of life of being a dog. But because I know she's a dog and I'm able to treat her as a dog, she's able to experience the fullness of what life is like as a puppy, as the cutest little fur baby in the entire world. And I get to spoil her in ways that she appreciates because I know she's a dog. Whereas when I was living in my flesh, I could not experience the goodness and the fullness, all the miracles that exist when I am able to realize my identity as a daughter and realize that, hey, these attributes and these desires to want to grow, to improve, to learn more, to be teachable, that's actually a truer version of who I am. There's so much more fullness attached to that, and there's so much more of God's goodness I get to experience because I am viewing myself how He created me to be, and I'm willingly stepping into that. My desire for you is that you always want to learn more and to be teachable. And if you feel like your environments make you feel dumb, get a new environment. It's pretty simple. And the people that have the fruits of the Spirit will recognize the fruits of the Spirit. And that is something so important. In knowledge, wisdom, intelligence, the Lord does not base on how much we physically know, but on how much more we want to know. I love you all. I hope this was helpful, and I'll talk to you next Wednesday. Bye.